Josh Thomas plays Nicholas in the comedy series Everything's Gonna Be Okay. I'm Matt
Hello.
Noble. Hi, Josh. I'm Matt
Hi.
Noble, Gold Derby. I want to ask you, what was the funniest thing for you in season 2 of Everything's Gonna Be Okay?
The funniest thing?
Yeah.
Well, like in the actual TV show?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. It was, uh, I have no idea. I mean, it's not like, a show that has like big crazy moments. Although we hit a goal and a head with a drone. I guess that's pretty high broad comedy. Um, um, all my funny bits in the show are like the things that like make me laugh when I watched it on like the 20th, because I do post-production. So like on the 20th watch is always just like tiny little like 3-sentence delivery of lines that actors did. I can't remember any of them, and if I said them to you, you would like not think it's funny. But you become like such an alien by the time you've seen the same episode 20 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I answer?
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like sometimes the smaller moments in shows like this that sort of within the context of the relationships that are the funniest
Yeah.
sort of things, particularly on rewatch viewings.
Do you think we need to explain that I'm on a houseboat?
Yeah, explain it. So you're on a houseboat, Josh. You having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a good time. It's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't mean to think this in my house.
Yeah. So is that the boat? Is that the captain's wheel behind you?
That's where I drive the houseboat around. Yeah, and I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's really good. But I just don't want people to think that in like the corner of my living room. Also, I don't want people to think I chose blinds that are that color. They're not my blinds. They're like things I use to shade in my house are like they're like pink velour and stuff.
Yeah.
Green linen. Not whatever that color is, mushroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like houseboats don't always have the best blinds like aesthetic.
It's not the most beautiful aesthetic. It's like very beige, but I guess gorgeous outside of the blinds, but then you can't see me anymore because I'm backlit.
Yeah. Oh well, if you get bored anytime during the interview, Josh, just feel free to take the wheel and go to somewhere else. Like
Drive around.
show us
Yeah.
yeah. So and last year we met your dogs, Bilby and John. How are they going?
Well, they're in LA, aren't they? It's so sad. I'm here and I just abandoned them in the pandemic. But they're happy. They're like my friends looking after them.
Yeah.
They don't care about me, do they? Sometimes I miss them, and I think, do they miss me? And I think, no, they're just dogs. They don't care. When they see me, they'll be excited to see me. But when I'm not there, they're not thinking, why aren't I there? They're just thinking like, well, I'd like some dinner. That's all they're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I'm not a dog, but I would imagine that is.
Yeah. One of the only books I've ever read in my life. I've only ever read 2 books. And one of the only books I ever completed was called Inside of a Dog, and it was about how dogs think.
Yeah.
But I can't remember any of it. So
yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, we actually learned another animal that well, at least an animal that Nicholas is quite interested in, or a species of animals, is insects. And we learned how this season why he got into entomology and all that sort of stuff. Why did you choose insects for Josh to be for Nicholas to be so interested in?
Nicholas, I really like them. I guess like on some level I thought they were like a nice metaphor, because people are so mean to insects and they always say they're so gross, but insects are cool and they're like important, and I always feel like they're like, I don't know, out there in these tiny little, they build these little like kingdoms for themselves and have like their whole like lives that they do that are insane. Like these are fucking crazy. And then I thought that was like maybe a nice metaphor for a show about like autism and queerness. And I also just really think they're pretty, and I wanted to look at them a lot. And Also, he had to have a job, and all the like TV jobs are taken.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. He wasn't going to be a police
I didn't want
officer
to make him a
or
writer.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
police
yeah.
officer, no, a writer,
All
or
right.
like I made him an entomologist. I thought I don't know any entomologists on TV. But also, what happened was there's like three different ways I can answer. I can give you those two answers, or the real answer was once I had sex with this boy, and then we're in the shower, and I was like we had like seen each other a few times. I went to see him again, but he was going into the woods for 3 months to study this like specific kind of grasshopper, and he was explaining to me about how this grasshopper has like the markings on the back that are the same as like this lizard that lives nearby, and they think it's because um it's like one of them is poisonous to protect it from the birds or something. And I thought I thought it was really charming. I thought it made me really like him. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll steal that and give it to my character because it's so charming. But then when I talk to other people about like grasshoppers or like insects, they don't seem to feel the same way.
Has that particular grasshopper been the name of an episode so far?
No, because they're all the bugs are in the episode, right? So
Okay.
like if we name the episode, then it's in there somewhere. Which like I sort of thought would be fun for people, but no one's ever noticed. Maybe like the people that like watch the show like 5 times, like the fifth watch, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna look for this beetle. So that grasshopper's not in because it's Australian and the show's set in California. They usually like we try and keep them Californian or like ones that he would have as pets.
Yeah. Well,
The Christmas beetle's never even in there though, but he mentions it.
yeah, so it's his reason for getting into bugs and insects. I didn't necessarily notice that the insect that was in the name title was in the episode, but I did notice that each episode was named after an insect and there was a bug in each insect.
Yeah. So whatever that bug is, or like one of the bugs is the
Yeah.
show title,
Okay.
or someone mentions it. Because actually, there's like a Christmas beetle episode, right? And we never see one, which just seems crazy. Why didn't we get one? I think probably
urban sprawl.
urban sprawl. Yeah, it'd be illegal, I think, to take Christmas beetle into LA.
Yeah. Okay. We spoke last year, Josh, and I asked you how it was working with the cast. And you said a cast is always delightful in the first season. But to ask you this question in a year, and you'll have more of a sense. Okay. So you said that they can, when they can start wanting things. They have a lot more concerns and needs, and you'd be interested to see how it grows in this season, and see how they grow every day closer to being a diva. So, how's the cast going in season 2, or how did the cast go in season 2, Josh?
No, I think if anything, they were sweeter.
Really?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, now that I look back on it, I mean, we had COVID, so like, it's not a good year for like being a diva, like. I don't really like talking to someone about the size of your dressing room. It's like, guys, like we had to send like 3 crew members home for 2 weeks today, and like we don't have a wardrobe department. So can you just like fuck off? Be like that conversation is just like not that easy, Like you can't I mean I said that in like a harsh way, but there is just like a vibe on set where you're like trying to film in a pandemic of like we're all in this together and we're just like trying to get a show. Like we're just trying to cobble a show together. So everyone was really nice. Maybe next year, if I'm not shooting in COVID, you can ask me the question again.
Yeah,
I mean, like one day someone complained about the dressing room being smaller than the other actors' dressing room. And it got brought up to me. And I said, like, well, I'll call them and tell them to stop complaining. And then that went away. And then, so there was like a little bit like before people came to set, but then people come to set and they realize like, oh, we just have to survive.
Yeah. And I guess what was the like sort of how does sort of when you're building scenes together with the other actors and stuff like that, how does the sort of collaborative sort of process work on this show?
I mean, it's like, I think we do a normal on-set process, right? We do like a private rehearsal with the cast, we figure it out. And then in COVID times, it's like a little bit less. They're there a little bit less. They have to, because we have to send them away into their rooms, the poor guys. So like we rehearse, and then they get sent into like a room by themselves, and then they like come back on and like sit down and they yell like action and go. Um, I mean, most of our cast like really kind of like being told what to do. They like being told where to stand. And they like some actors like me, like if you brought me onto set and like told me where to stand, I'd be like, I'd be like the guy that I was describing into that interview with you last year. I'd be like, no, I can't stand over there. That's not where I'd stand. But our actors, they like being told where to stand. And they like they like to listen.
Yeah.
It's not different. I don't know. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Did I answer that?
Yeah. And Josh, and Nicholas, sorry, Josh. Nicholas made some friends this season with Richard Kind, or Richard Kind's character, and Dre's parents. What was that like working on those relationships and new relationships this season for Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I really we had Dre's parents, Toby and Sue. I really wanted someone in the show that was like also parenting. So like Nicholas had someone to talk to about parenting, which I don't think we ever actually ended up doing much in the season by the end. We never really did that. Maybe there's like 2 scenes of it. And then I sort of realized that like Dre's parents are probably pretty kooky. Dre is pretty kooky. So she probably has pretty kooky parents, and that was really exciting to me. I was like, oh, we can just get like kooky actors. And I love Maria Bamford so much. I love Richard Kind as well. He sent in a self-tape. He sent in a self-tape for Toby. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. You can do it. Like, why? You don't need to send in a self-tape. I asked him about it, and he said that he just really likes sending in self-tapes, which I just can't imagine. I've never met anyone in my life that likes to make a self-tape. So yeah, he auditioned. Maria didn't audition. We offered her. And we would have just offered Richard. All he had to do was send an email saying like, I'll do it. 3 words. They would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think like those 2 characters, and it fits like really with the sort of like cast of the show, in that like everyone in their own way is a bit of an outsider, a bit of someone who sort of they've found each other and made this little community of friends and family.
Yeah, I mean the only person in the show who was like normal is Alex.
Yeah.
And then like he like becomes the outsider. Like in our show, like he's kind of the freak.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. He's like he was the only normal person in the show. And then I mean I think Genevieve's pretty normal actually.
Yeah.
I think she's pretty together, and like she's almost too together, like too normal. People on the internet this week were saying they thought that she was autistic, but I don't think so. I think she's like pretty chill and pretty like not like normal. Seems weird for me to say normal versus the word autistic there. That's the pause that I have. Not want to get into that language thing.
Yeah. The more traditional television character.
She's not that. Yeah, I don't feel like she's that eccentric actually. But I guess that's like that's like from my point of view. From other people's point of view, I guess maybe she's eccentric.
Yeah. What do you talked about when Nicholas was in an argument with Alex. Nicholas sort of were trying to apologize, going through the internet apology tips. You sort of say, or your character says, people don't actually change, do they? Do you think people change or not?
I mean, I definitely like. I remember when I made Please Like Me, so like we started pitching Please Like Me when I was like 21, and I really didn't want to have character growth. It was like one of my first things. Like 2 of my first things when I was 21 were like, I don't want it to just be a comedy or a drama. I want it to be a mix of comedy and drama because that's what life is, which 14 years ago was sort of a new idea. And the other thing I was like, I don't want there to be like character growth. I don't want them to learn lessons. Like to me, The Simpsons felt like a lot more honest because like every week they're just the same. Like Homer's always stupid, Marge is always doing whatever Marge is doing, Bart's always like doing whatever Bart does. Like they don't change. And that to me felt more honest than like when you have these like growth moments, like at the end of Hook when like Robin Williams like smashes his mobile phone, you know, and he's like, I smashes my phone. I'm gonna spend more time with my children. Like I watched that scene and I'm like, well, tomorrow you're gonna go out, you're gonna buy a mobile phone, right? Because like you need to earn money. So you're gonna go and like just buy a new phone. Maybe not tomorrow, but like on Tuesday, you're gonna go and buy a new phone. That felt like a lie to me. But now I feel like people change a bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So like gentle, my shows have like more, they have more of those moments where like characters learn lessons and like change and they get better at doing stuff. But when I first started making TV, I really stubbornly didn't want that because I didn't believe in anybody's ability to change.
Yeah. And you may have sort of just answered that, but like, what's something that you've changed in through making the series?
Through making this series?
Yeah, yeah. You can make it broader if you want. If you want to go deeper, you can.
I mean, this series got me diagnosed autistic, which is like, I mean, that just comes with some like personal revelations, and it helps you figure out how to do things better. Just by like understanding yourself better. I mean, I just feel like by like growing up, you just get better at being a bit softer and a bit kinder, and better at like listening maybe than I was when I was like 20. And also, I like don't really like have like naturally have good social skills, but then now I've like had to make this TV show, 2 TV shows now, where like I really had to like show up and be a person, you know, because I'm like the boss. Like I've got to talk to people. I really need to go and like be outgoing and like make friends and like communicate ideas and like get people on board. And I sort of had to like do that every day. So I'm like better at talking to people. I don't know if this conversation's been a good example, but like sometimes so like I feel like I'm saying like like I feel like constantly I like changed in the last 10 years and I feel like softer and now I feel a bit more like to answer your question, yes, now I think people change. I don't think I agree with Nicholas that much. But I don't think that but also I do agree there's like a scene where like Alex's dad is like he's in a relationship and Alex's dad is like but you know like whatever sucks now about this relationship it's not going to get better, right? Like your relationship is just incrementally going to get worse over time, so if like you don't like him now you're never going to like start liking him. I do sort of believe with that dad, which I think makes me think that I don't think people will change. What do you think?
I think it's complicated. I think people have the capacity to change and grow and be a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder. It's it's not good if we don't learn from our mistakes and grow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't want it's not probably a healthy expectation to have on people. I want you to be a different person than who you are.
Yeah, but, exactly. Right. Like who people fundamentally are is like who they're gonna be. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing about getting an autism diagnosis, like when I got my ADHD diagnosis, she sat me down and she goes like, so you got ADHD? And then she explains what that is, right? Which basically is like, she's like basically sits you down and she says like, so you're a douchebag. And then she follows that up with it's uncurable. And I thought that's interesting. Because like most people don't get sat down by somebody and get given like a list of their flaws. And like the autism diagnosis is the same again. You get sit down and you get like they discuss a list of your flaws and then they like say to you like this is never gonna change. So and I think that's like I mean maybe I'd like to do that with like more people that I've met in my life, just sit them down and be like this is what's wrong with you and that's how it's gonna be forever. Because the thing with both of those diagnoses is they they try and teach you a big part of it really is not about trying to change you, it's about like self-acceptance, right? It's about like I mean like the most simple example is like yeah you're gonna be late to the appointment a lot and there's no point always getting like really upset about it, just accepting that sometimes you're going to be late and like working out how to be cute when you're late is like more important than thinking that you're going to live a life where you're not late. So yeah.
Yeah, like your value is not seen in being in time. Your self value, your self worth,
It's
like
just
that.
that if you
Yeah,
keep trying, if
yeah,
you keep beating yourself up about not achieving something that is impossible for you to achieve, and it's never going to be possible for you to achieve, then you're not going to have a good life, right? But if you can like accept that there's like these things that you're always going to suck at, um, and just like accept them and try and focus more on like what you can do that's good.
yeah,
That I think is like a really nice lesson that you get when you get diagnosed with a
yeah.
disorder that like neurotypical people don't get, but maybe that'd be like helpful.
Yeah. How can you care for others in the circumstances of who you are?
The
Yeah.
thing about like it'd be like yeah, I'd like to sit some like neurotypical people down and be like, look, here's the thing, you're boring and you're always going to be boring, but that's fine because like you've got other things to offer. So all I'm saying is like make sure when you go to a party, like bring a plate.
Yeah. I love it. That's really good. Something else that sort of resonated with me that you touched on in towards the end of the season is you said, or your character said, you don't know what hope there is for you because that was your best. And I thought that was like a really sort of profound idea of like the feeling that everyone has sometimes that when they're best, they don't feel is enough.
Yeah. Do you know what that's based on? Actually, that line.
I do not.
This girl came up to me at this club at like 4 a.m., right? And I was wasted. It was 4 a.m. I was at this like dingy club, and she's a journalist, and she said, you know, all the journalists in Melbourne think you're at the C word, right? Because of I don't know, my interviews, I guess I wasn't like, and I was like, what? Like that is me doing an interview. Like that is me trying to be as charming as I know how to be. Like that's literally like there's like a timer starts at 8 p.m. Or 8 a.m. I'm told at 8:20 a.m. that the conversation finishes, and that is like 20 minutes of me trying to be as like cute and charming as I could possibly be. And those people came out the other side of it thinking I was a C word. I can say cunts, who cares? And I was like, that was my best. Like that was me. It was really, she said that to me and I just was like, that's me like trying my best. And then that's in the show it became about Alex.
Wow. Well, what kind of
Also,
interviews?
she's wrong. They don't think that. I'm delightful.
Yeah.
She's just kidding.
What kind
Yeah.
of interviews are they wanting? What are they like?
I don't know. I don't know. To be fair, I mean, sometimes you do interviews in Australia and they'll call up and I've never seen you do anything. And they'll be like, hi. And they'll be like, so what's your show? And you'll be like, okay, so I make this show and this is the thing. And then they'll be like, why did you title it that? And then like maybe sometimes I was a bit like, let me off the phone. Like if you haven't seen the show, that's fine. But like let's not do an interview about it. We don't need to do that. We can just like live our lives a different way. But there's a chance that maybe. I mean, I feel like probably if I was on doing an interview with them and I did come across like a cunt, probably it's because they were annoying.
It's not you, it's them.
Well, I think it's probably us. Usually,
Yeah.
you know, in a situation where you're like looking at the other person, you're thinking like, that person's not good. It's like, no, that person's good. And there's lots of people who really like that person, but it's just you two combined. But also, I just think that girl was it wrong. And I think actually journalists like me and they think I'm cute.
Well, Josh, I love chatting with you. I always enjoy our talks. This is definitely always a highlight for me. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today, talking about Everything's Gonna Be Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. People watching this interview can go to goldderby.com to watch other contender interviews and make predictions. And Josh, all the best of luck with the Emmy Awards this year.